one of the things I've really been interested in doing is increasing the body of work for an instrument like the viola, which I think is so misunderstood. It doesn't have the rich history or tradition of solo literature, but I don't think it's a coincidence that all of those great composers we all revere, when they would get together with their friends and play chamber music, they all played the viola.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a coincidence, right? No, there's something there for sure.
So it's funny. Just this week I'm doing 3 dialogues, which is insane. Tomorrow I'm talking to a choreographer who's going to be dancing at the concert that I'm doing on Sunday to the piece that Amanda's wrote me for solo viola.
Sure.
So yesterday I was doing a conversation with Amanda, and we were talking a little bit about Elegy, the piece that you heard,
a beautiful piece,
which in a way kind of brought us together physically because we met and talked for the first time there about the possibilities of collaborating. So it's kind of cool how things just sort of, grow and cross-pollinate and all that. But
very quickly at this point,
asking her about the inspiration for Elegy was a bit of an epiphany for me, because it's so rare and special, I think, for a performer to get to hear from the composer's own mouth what was the inspiration.
The story behind the piece, yeah.
And so here we are,
right,
less than a year later, talking about a piece that has yet to be written. Now this is an interesting twist.
Yes. Stay tuned.
Which is exciting, I think. And so we've talked on the phone a couple times.
Right.
I'm driving down to Philly, or you're driving home from the shore or whatever, and in our portable offices about what we might want to do that would make it interesting. And one of the things we've talked about from the get-go is that it'd be a chamber concerto.
Right. Capital chamber concerto. Yeah, really emphasizing that aspect of it.
So in other words, not for 150 players with 8 tubas?
Exactly, yeah. Nothing like that at all. And I think, a lot of times inspiration for pieces can come from a deeply personal place, but also, in my case, from a marriage of that with very practical concerns. And as someone who's an emerging artist and not very well known yet in some circles, my concern for our piece.
You're talking about me.
No, you're the star here.
No. It's like misery loves company.
I was really, right off the bat, knew that I wanted to write a piece, because you play a lot. You're always out there playing concerts. I wanted to write a piece for you that would get done a lot. So that means that it has to be a piece that hopefully you'll like. Yeah. It has to be well written, but it also has to be portable, user-friendly. So right off the bat, I didn't want to do a piece that was going to be for large orchestra, viola solo, and get done if we're really lucky once, and then probably never again, or maybe every 5 years. A piece that small new music ensembles could program, fairly easily and fairly regularly without too much trouble. Yeah. That was.
I think that's so smart, and I think that's a great example of a composer not compromising, but instead using clever ways to get his own voice out there. We would all like to write a huge symphony of 1,000.
Right, sure.
But we also want to eat, and we also want
people to
hear any music we write, because it's still coming from us. And so you're thinking of creative ways to get a piece played more than once, and of course if I'm going to learn it, I don't want to play it once.
Yeah, and when we spoke about that right off the bat, you had said that, and I had never, being a composer, never thought about it very carefully from the performer's perspective, but of course if you devote all this time to learn a new concerto, a difficult concerto, if it's going to be a modern piece, you want to do it more than once, for sure.
We talked a little bit about the size, so we're thinking a smallish orchestra, chamber orchestra.
Yeah, 12 to 20 players.
12 to 20, that's a small orchestra, yeah. So then you're really talking contemporary ensemble even.
Yeah, exactly, London Sinfonietta type groups, or even smaller with a few extra players.
Yeah. That's really cool. And then I think we even talked about a couple of model pieces that are out there. And one of my favorites, two of my favorites was the Bernstein Serenade, which I love.
Beautiful piece,
Not for viola, damn. And then also the Hina-Stera Variations, which I think is incredible. Then what I thought was fascinating is just the more I thought about this idea of perhaps of variations is not necessarily following that model, but what that model represents. It represents a chance for the principles of each section to shine as a soloist, or at the very least as a chamber music partner with the solo viola.
Exactly.
Which I think is going to be new.
Yeah, I think it's unique. Yeah. Yeah, even the model pieces we've looked at, I think it's a way of approaching this concerto that might set it apart from others. And I also, just going back to an earlier point you made, one of the things that was attractive to me about writing a concerto for viola is that, even if you write a really great, say, piano concerto or violin concerto as a young composer, there's so much contemporary and historical repertoire to compete with that even if your piece is amazing, it's still really hard to get it played. Whereas, not that the viola has a dearth of great concerti, because it doesn't, but there's certainly room there for really strong new pieces that will have a chance to get noticed.
On the other hand, there's so many famous pianists and violinists out there that if they said, I want to play this piece, it'll get played.
Yeah, it just takes one, but it's tough.
Yeah.
But now, going back to the other idea, at some point during one of our phone conversations, we spoke about duos and duets. And I'm not sure how or why, but I guess maybe I was teaching it. I don't even think I told you this, but I was teaching the Four Seasons by Vivaldi a couple of weeks before we spoke, and I had said to my class, well, when he does the chirping birds music in the first movement of La Primavera, it's the orchestra violin playing with a soloist. So maybe that was in the back of my head somewhere, but at a certain point, this idea of having you play duos with principal members of the orchestra or the chamber group evolved, and we both kind of got excited about it.
It's not unusual, the Brahms second piano concerto, that huge cello movement, the Dvorak cello concerto, that great concertmaster solo is a duet.
Yeah, and it happens sort of organically in those pieces, but I think the idea that we sort of hit on together was making that sort of the structural basis or the main thematic idea of the piece. A concerto in which the viola is showcased out front, but very clearly and in very natural ways plays duets. It's like a concerto for orchestra, viola concerto hybrid.
That's so exciting to me because my background is in chamber music, having played in quartets and trios and duos and all that stuff, and had works written for those combinations and toured with that. So I have a strong affinity for the concept of playing in chamber music, communicating with a few other people intimately to create a product. And so now the chance to tap into those earlier skills or loves will, I think, really enrich this new concept, because it's really giving me the chance to be a soloist, which is what I love to do, and then also invite different players to dance with me
to play chambers
at the same time.
So it's sort of the best of both
worlds. It's
worlds.
multi-layered. It's ultimately a concerto, but it's chamber music. It's everything. Well, it sounds like there's a lot of great material to continue talking about, and I look forward to seeing how it evolves. And it's very exciting. This is the first dialogue episode where I'm talking to a composer about a piece that hasn't yet been written or even sketched out. And so it's really exciting because it's showing the process from the very, very beginning, where you and I are kind of putting our heads together, coming up with the kind of piece we want to put together, and having been a winner of this Barlow grant from the Barlow Foundation has helped make it possible to do that. And now the next step is to begin writing and for us to start getting orchestras interested in this, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Likewise.
So
great to chat.
Okay.